Hello, childrens. I'm back. If you don't know, it's Proma. This is my second video ever, so this is very exciting. I thought that since I do like to do some art stuff, that I would kind of just go through what supplies I like to use for all of it. So I'll split it up into like paintings and sketches. So I'll start with paintings first. For acrylic paintings, I like to use this brand, and I don't really know how to say it, but it's this brand. I have deep black, medium red, medium yellow, and the very common blue that most people like to use. And I like to use a primary color palette, or the limited color palette, I guess. And I also use the Artist Loft White just because I'm not very, I don't have a lot of money, I can't afford that much paint. So I also have the Winsor Newton Galeria acrylic. It's yellow ochre, and I haven't actually used this. I have no idea how it performs. I can say I do like these a lot so far. I think it's great. I like how they mix and stuff. Also, the lighting may change. I'm just sitting in front of my mirror, my window, not my mirror. Yeah. So here's an example of something that I have painted with those paints. It's not done yet. I mentioned in my previous video that this is my stress painting. What that means is basically I like to work on this when I'm stressed, because like before bed or after like a difficult test, I just find that painting really relaxes me, and it's just nice to have like a consistent piece that I'm always working on. I also am a gouache gal. I like gouache. I think it's like just a really fun medium to work with. I think it's really interesting that you can like get the colors to be so like melted down, and for that I like to use the Reeves gouache. They are small little tubes like this. This is the ultramarine blue. I have the whole like set here. Ooh, that's not gonna focus. Please don't fall. That one. I bought it from Michael's for maybe like $10. I think it's pretty good. I'm sure there's much better gouache out there, as well as the acrylic, but I'm just kind of new to the whole painting scene, so I'm not very well versed in what is out there. But as a good beginning paint, I think it works really well. And this is an example of something I have painted with those gouaches, and I think it's pretty good. I like it a lot. This is the painting I'm currently working on. It's a work in progress, guys. Please do not make fun of it so much. But yeah, this one, I've been using a lot. I started out with using gouache, but I kind of switched over to acrylic because I felt like it would work better for this. I don't know. It's kind of the same. So that's all. Oh, actually, no. I also do watercolors. That's in my sketchbook. This is a really cheap sketchbook from Blick's Art Materials. I'm not sure how many places has those, but let me find something decent that I've done with watercolor. I'm not a very big watercolor person. It's really hard for me to keep track of. I don't know. I like being precise with my lines, but this was something I did when I was also #stressed. Just a quick gal. I don't think I used any. Yeah, I just went in on this one. I had no previous sketch lines for this, I think. Or I might have. Maybe it was really light. But for watercolor, since I don't really do it that often, I've never really found a need to buy really expensive watercolors. I'm sure I've seen a lot of artists use Winsor Newton because I've heard it's good. I've never tried it, so I can't say how it works for me. But I just use the really cheap watercolor sets from Michael's. It works well for me. My only complaint is that once you get like some colors dirty, it's just extremely difficult to clean it out. Also, this lid breaks off constantly and it's really frustrating, but I don't find it to be that big of a deal just because, again, I'm not a big watercolory person. The brushes I like to use for most or basically all of my paintings are right here in front of me. I like to work with round brushes. I know there's probably brush techniques and stuff, but I don't know any of that. So I like to using a lot of round brushes. I like having like a really good sized round brush because I find that it's just a very versatile tool that you can use, and it just works really well. I also do have like a more, this one has dried paint on it, so it's kind of icky. But this one also, it's just a very thin little detailing brush. Obviously, gotta have your this is also has a lot of dried paint on it, but this is just a flat brush, your general ones. And I don't know where I bought these from. I completely forgot. But I can say when you are picking out brushes that I recommend getting something with like a plastic handle or metal handle. Why I say that is when you're like I don't clean mine that often, but sometimes I like to leave my brushes soaking overnight and stuff just to like get them really like clean and soft. Not in paint thinner, just in like water, just to get them really clean for the next day. And I don't know why it didn't occur to me, but wooden, like this one, you can tell, this one's a wooden brush that I do like to use still. It will start getting water damaged, and that's why I recommend getting something with a plastic or metal handle. With that out of the way, I also do like to do some good old sketchy sketches. I have a lot of unfinished stuff in here just because I'm that kind of person, but I'll show some works. So this is Reese King on Instagram. Oh, sometimes I like to leave notes to myself, things I have to do. It's a little bit like a diary for me. So this is Reese King. This was just pencil. I just like to use 0.7 regular mechanical pencils, but I also do have this Draftmatic 0.3 pencil. This is mainly for details, and I do use this very often. It's a little bit pricier than your average pencil, not gonna lie. It's maybe like, I think it was either $10 to $12, I can't quite remember. I bought it from Blix also, and it is expensive, like more expensive than your average pencil, but if you are very into sketching, I do recommend it because it's such a great way to get in small details. But other than that, I just use regular mechanical pencils. Like, I find that Pentel makes really... Is this Pentel? I'm pretty sure this is Pentel. This is a Pentel twist and erase brush, which means, like, the eraser can twist up and down. And I'm sorry for the lighting change once again. I'm just in front of my window, so the sun is going in and out. LA has been quite rainy recently, so I'm sure it's going to rain a little bit later. Those are, like, just the pencils I like to use. Pen-wise, I do have some expensive pens. I like to do really fine lines, and I'll show you what I mean. Another sketchy sketch. Here's another thing I did. I did use a reference, but I can't remember who. I did change up a lot of it. It's not my favorite anymore. I don't think it was that good. This was when I was watching Stranger Things. I just really loved Hopper, and I think his whole character is just really amazing. So this is another thing I did with just pencil, and the pens I'm going to show you after I show you like a decent pen sketch once I find it. This is Haley Kiyoko. This one is, I think, fully pencil because I just think that has a nice effect sometimes too. Yeah, it is fully pencil. Oh, here it is. This one has a lot more pen detail on it. So in this is just Princess Nokia. She's a great artist. I really recommend people listening to her. But this is Princess Nokia, and I used a couple different pens. For her hair, I used the Kuretake brush pen. I think it might have been like $7. I got it at the UCLA student store. I'm not in college, but I go there sometimes, and they have a lot of pens and stuff. That was really shocking to me. And I like to use the Muji gel pens. I have a lot of them. My friend gets me them for like sets and stuff. Like, this is my pencil case. There's a lot of Muji in here. I have all the colors. But I use 0.38 and 0.5. I have some 0.7s, but I like to do very thin lines, so I don't use them as much. I have never gotten the hang of ballpoint pens that well. I've been trying to do a lot more ballpoint pen sketches, but it's very difficult for me. So those are just all I have. I do have a couple of Copics, and I have a couple of Copic alternatives as well. Like in the Princess Nokia drawing, her hair clips, I'll show it again. I did that with Copics. I like Copics, but I have to say they're not my favorite medium to use. Alcohol markers in general, I find it very, I don't know, I just have not been able to learn how to blend them. I've watched many videos, but I think it's just the fact that it's so expensive, and it's just, you have to buy every color to mix it, in my opinion. Like, skin tones are very difficult for me to do, and I do draw a lot of people. So here, her hairpins, her hair clips, they're done just in, they're not all Copics. I have, like, a couple of Copics. Like, I have this one. But, Blix, I know I mentioned Blix a lot, but that's kind of, like, the primary place I go to buy art stuff. Blix Studio, they have alcohol pens, and I feel like they work just as well as Copics. My one complaint is that their numbering system is very confusing compared to Copics. If you know what Copic's numbering system is, it's very, like, useful. You can look it up. I can't really explain it that well, but yeah, Blix has a very weird numbering system. I don't quite understand it. That's kind of all I have to talk about in the whole art realm. Oh, you know what? Actually, another thing. I mentioned this in my last video. I bought a wooden palette. I used to just use, I used to just use a cutting board that I bought from Target for like $2 on sale as my palette, and it worked just as well. I honestly still think it works really well. It's just that so much paint buildup has gotten, it like is really rough. You can tell. This is a chunk of red paint. It will not go off. It's insane. But other than that, I did buy a wooden palette from Blix also, and I like it, but I do have to say that I think it's better to buy a palette that you can clean easier. Like, not a glass palette seems very like irritating to have, but maybe a plastic one. And another thing is, you know those cheap palettes you can get for like 99 cents, has the little dips and stuff? I don't like those just because I find that it's really hard to mix, because I do use palette knives to mix a lot of my paints. It's just so difficult to mix it on those type of palettes. I need something smooth, and I do recommend for people who mix that get a smooth palette. So I wouldn't recommend wooden either, just because it's so difficult to clean, as I mentioned with like the wooden brushes. Maybe it's just a me thing and I don't know how to clean things properly, but I would recommend a plastic flat palette, or a flat palette that's not wooden. I am still using this. I will use it until it just gets to like this point, but it's just something to consider as, you know, if you're an artist that wants to get started. Other tips, I recommend just buying your average primary colors. I think you should get medium red, cadmium yellow or medium yellow, and phthalo blue. I don't know how to say it, but it's this spelling, or aqua or ultramarine blue. Those are just very good primary colors to have. You can mix very vibrant colors with those. For example, when I started out painting, I didn't really look up what paints I should buy, so I bought deep yellow. And while I was working on this painting, it was insanely difficult to start. Like, it was just, I could not get the right color of the green, and it was just, I didn't understand why until I looked up. I was like, so I went out and bought cadmium or medium yellow, and the best green, it just started occurring, and I was like, oh my god. So that's all it was. So I really recommend getting those 3 primary colors, as well as your average black and white. I'm not really sure about which ones you should buy in those instances. That's all I have to say. I do have a lot of stuff happen today. I wanted to talk about my day and stuff, but this video is getting quite long already, so I'll save it for another day. So, goodbye for now, children.